Do you feel safe? It's a question I've been asking of a number of people, and I'm getting a number of answers. I had a couple who said, yes, I feel safe. And then one of them would qualify it with safe from what? I said, just answer the question, do you feel safe? I had others who said they feel unsettled. Others who said that I feel safe in my bubble, but when I leave my bubble, I'm not sure. I can understand that. Do you feel safe? One person said to me, and I thought it was fascinating, they said, I've come to realize that green doesn't mean go. Green doesn't mean go back to normal. And the person went on to say, I'm still trying to figure out what it means. It feels more like yellow. Proceed with caution. And then another person said, I'm not sure how we get back. I'm not sure how we get back to normal. I don't even want to use the phrase new normal because I'm getting tired of hearing that. But there's truth in it, isn't there? And so here we are. We've shown you Noah's Ark before, but this time on a bigger scale. But this will be the third time we go back to Noah and the Ark. And if you ask that question to Noah, Noah, do you feel safe? I'm sure there had to be fear when he was on the waters, floating, waiting. But what about here? When they're getting off the boat, does he feel safe? Does his wife feel safe? How do they get back to normal? There wasn't a normal for them. Everything had changed, everything. How would they ever begin to plant the crops? The first drop of rain, as we talked about in the previous devotion, the first drop of rain, would they be looking for the flood again? And this is where God puts up a rainbow. We love rainbows. It's a covenant promise. It's a covenant promise that God gives to Noah, saying, I'm with you. Never again will I do this to the earth. It's a promise you can build your life upon. And that was the safety that God gave to Noah in what had to be a very uncertain time of entering into a whole new world, literally. We love Psalm 46, verse 10, be still and know that I am God. We devoted a devotion of meditation on that, but we've got to see the context that Psalm 46 is built in. Its beginning is like this. God is our refuge and strength, a present help in trouble. Therefore we will not fear, though the earth should change. I've never really caught that phrase until these days, these weeks. Though the earth should change. Isn't that what feels like it's happening right now, that things are changing before our eyes? Though the earth should change and the mountains slip into the heart of the sea, though its waters roar and foam, though the mountains quake at its swelling pride, there is a river whose streams make glad the city of God, the holy dwelling place of the Most High, and God is in the midst of her, and she will not be moved. God will help her when morning dawns. God is in the midst of her. God was in the midst of Noah and his family by giving them the sign of the covenant, the new covenant he was giving to them. To remind them, he gave them the rainbow. To give them courage, even though the entire earth had changed before their eyes. And God has given us that sign of a covenant too, a new covenant. The cross, the empty tomb, and then his very body and blood. It is here that he says, I'm in your midst. Though everything else change, I do not change. Do you feel safe? I'm not so certain that safety is the word that we are to look for in this new world. At least safety that's provided for by routines and by what the world has to offer. When I look in the scriptures for Bible verses on safety, that safety always brings me back to God. Even though the earth be moved, even though the earth change, God is in the midst. That's where safety is found. Do you feel safe? The answer is found by coming before God. And that's not always an easy thing. Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Susan and Lucy are about to meet Aslan, the lion, who represents Christ. And the conversation goes like this. You will understand when you see him. But shall we see him? Asked Susan. Why, daughter of Eve? That's why I brought you here, for I'm to lead you where you will meet him, said Mr. Beaver. Is he a man? Asked Lucy. Aslan a man? Said Mr. Beaver sternly. Certainly not. I tell you, he is the king of the wood. He is the son of the great emperor beyond the sea. Don't you know who is the king of the beast? Aslan is a lion. The lion. The great lion. Ooh, said Susan. I thought he was a man. Is he quite safe? I shall feel rather nervous about meeting a lion. That you will, dearie, and no mistake, said Mrs. Beaver. If there's anyone who can appear before Aslan without their knees knocking, they're either braver than most or they're just else very, very silly. Then he isn't safe? Asked Lucy. Safe, said Mr. Beaver. Don't you hear what Mrs. Beaver is telling you? Who said anything about safe? Of course he isn't safe. But he's good. The king, I tell you. I'm longing to see him, said Peter, even if I do feel frightened when it comes to the point. Who said anything about safe? But he's good. God's ways are not my ways or your ways, and we don't understand sometimes why he does what he does and why he refrains when he does. In that sense, God is not safe. Safe in the sense that we can predict and expect what he's going to do. But he's good. He's good. He's our Father. We confess this in the Creed when we say, I believe in God, the Father Almighty. He's the Almighty One. After all, he is God. But he's good. He's your Father and my Father. We are his beloved. Through the waters of baptism, he has placed his name on us. And when he looks at us, he sees his own son, Jesus, the same one who, when Jesus was coming out of the water, he said, this is my beloved in whom I am well pleased. This is how God looks at you and me through the lens of Jesus Christ in his most precious blood. May God keep you and those you love safe in his care, in the palm of his hand from where no one can snatch you away.